Rare photos that may blow your mind. Fun fact, Elvis was drafted to the U.S. Army in 1958. And in this photo, we can see him being inducted into the Army, sworn in with an oath. And this picture, taken in Bavaria, Germany, shows him with 3 other soldiers, huddled by a fire to keep warm. In this 1947 photo, a man's back is covered in massive flash burn scars, caused by the Hiroshima atomic bomb 2 years before. And here's a photo of the aftermath of the Hiroshima atomic bomb, everything reduced to rubble. This collection of things belonged to Lee Harvey Oswald, the man who assassinated President Kennedy in November of 1963. Following the assassination, these were his possessions, collected by the police. This is a photo of Robert Wadlow, the tallest man of all time, in a courtroom from 1939. Footbinding was a cultural process that was popular in China until the mid-20th century. It involved breaking and tying your feet extremely tightly for aesthetic reasons, often starting as young as 4 or 5 years old. And if you're curious what kinds of shoes people would bind their feet to fit into, here is one example from the 1930s. Helen Keller was a disability activist, author, and teacher who lost her sight and hearing as a baby. In this picture from 1899, she is playing chess with Anne Sullivan. And this is what she looked like over 50 years later, on her 75th birthday. This is British expedition explorer Dr. Edward Atkinson in October of 1911 on an expedition to Antarctica that lasted from 1910 to 1913. Here's Bessie Coleman, the first black woman to ever gain a pilot's license. And here's another photo of Coleman in the early 1920s, flying a plane. Tragically, she died in an accident at a practice air show in 1926, falling straight from the air. One of the first and most famous transgender Americans to have gender reassignment surgery was Christine Jorgensen. She was an Army veteran from 1944 to 1946, and in 1952, she had her 6th gender-affirming surgery. This photo gives us a rare glimpse of Alfred Hitchcock in the middle of directing, and it's from the set of To Catch a Thief. And this image from 1955 displays co-stars Cary Grant and Grace Kelly on the set of that same picture, filming a scene in the water. In this photo from 1930, first-class passengers on the Canadian Pacific Railway are lounging and enjoying their commute. And at a similar time, this is what train travel looked like in the United Kingdom. Behold the very first telephone switchboard ever. These 2 World War II soldiers are in France, fighting from a damaged building, and they're sitting in the exact same spot where their fathers fought a few decades earlier, in World War I.